Greetings everyone, this is Dr. Jason Freeman of Towson University and I'd like to welcome you all to my channel. In this video I have a thought-provoking conversation with a good friend of mine, Marcia Dunkley of Black Heritage Walks, which is based in Birmingham, England. In the video we discuss her background as an educator, how Black history is actually taught in British schools, as well as how you can sign up for one of her walks. So without further ado, let's begin. Marcia, actually one quick question. Are you from Birmingham originally?
No, I'm actually from Wolverhampton, which is about 20
Wolverhampton. Okay.
miles out of Birmingham. Yeah.
Okay. So what actually brought you into Birmingham? So why did you end up moving to Birmingham?
Well, in my research of what Black history and heritage look like in the West Midlands, so that's a county that Birmingham and Wolverhampton is in. I originally tried to start to find out what the local Black history was in Wolverhampton and found this much. It then led me to go further into Birmingham and found that much and that much.
Okay.
So that's where it all happened. But Birmingham is the hub of Black history and heritage. That's where loads of things exploded. It's brilliant.
Absolutely. That's actually what brought me to Birmingham as well. So I was looking at different parts of England and I saw that Birmingham City University had like one of the only, if not the only at the time, basically Black studies departments in Britain. So I was like, okay, that's the perfect place to go. And then also looking at the demographics and everything, I'm like, Birmingham is the place that I want to do this course. So one thing that I noticed whenever we do the talk, so I've done 2 of the walks with you, is your passion for history. So where does that actually come from? So why are you so interested in history in general and also Black history specifically?
Definitely from my parents growing up.
Okay.
From the age of 4, I think I had it drummed into me. Um, know yourself, know your identity, and know how to read.
Okay.
Jamaican culture, it's about being able to read and write.
Yeah.
So there was all of that, and then the continual Marcia, if you want to do well in this world, in this country, you're going to have to do 3 times better than anyone else around you in the workplace, in education, wherever you go. So from a young, very young age, I don't think I'd even started. I think you call it kindergarten. I
Yeah.
don't think I started that when I was told constantly from my parents, who are both very educated, both continually at college and university. We had a house full of books. I'm sure the furniture was built from books. So I had no choice. There was no way of getting away from books, reading this continual narrative. Yeah, it was
Okay.
wonderful.
Okay. So like a
I mean,
education focused household.
at the time, you're a young child, you want to go out and play with the rest of the kids and so on. And there was slight resentment at that time, but now I'm really glad that they impounded that message from a young
Okay.
age.
Okay. Awesome. Um, so I do want to kind of shift gears. Oh, actually, I have one other question. So I think during the first walk, you had mentioned that you had worked within the education system in Britain. Is that correct? So what was your experience there, and what kind of led you to kind of go from there to Black Heritage Walks, so kind of shifting to Black Heritage Walks? So
Yeah, so I majored in history and
okay,
English at university, and love being a teacher. It's the place where I'm most comfortable, because I learn from the students, and I learn based on what they don't know. I then have to go and find out. But what it was for me, it was the whole limitation of what we have in this country. I don't know what you call it in America, called a national curriculum, and it's
uh-huh,
basically government says we have to teach throughout that academic year. And I'd be looking at the history curriculum and thinking, well, hold on, this is only a quarter of the story. But what the issue is within the school environment, they think that's 100% of the story. But
okay,
because I'd grown up literally drowned in Black history books, I knew difference from my many years. I think I went to university when I was 20. So let's look at this. I
okay.
had 16 years of continual poring over Black history books for me to be able to know that wasn't the whole 100% of the story.
Okay.
So I knew this, and then I actually, how can I put it, got angry with myself one day, annoyed, and I thought, well, hold on here. Aren't I the one as well who is enabling the system to just teach this quarter of history? I actually need to come out of this. What was it was what I would call conflict within the school environment. I would basically say this is missing out of the music syllabus, out of the English syllabus, the maths, and the teachers, they'd be like, okay, Marcia, but we don't have to teach this because the government doesn't say we do.
Gotcha.
What they would really then want me to come back and sit with them is Black History Month. And I'd be like, well, this isn't just a month's worth of history. Black history is 365. So I just got annoyed with myself one day because I looked and I thought to myself, well, I am the one who's enabling this quarter of history to be taught. I'm
Yeah.
going for conflict. Let me come out. Let me come out of this limitation and create my own platform. And that's where we are today, Black History, Black Heritage Walks.
Awesome. 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 So what were some of the things that you felt they were leaving out of the kind of the national curriculum in England in regards to Black history?
Black British history.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Black British history. Yes.
What was left out was Black British history.
Oh,
In
okay. I see what you're saying. Okay.
when we teach Black history in this country, we always default to American Black history. We
Gotcha.
hardly
Okay.
teach anything about African history. So if we're talking about civil rights and so on, we're always going to go to Martin Luther King,
Yes.
Malcolm X, Ida B. Wells. But we've got our own Black British civil rights activists here.
Yeah.
We, for example, like with Rosa Parks with the bus boycott. Yeah,
Yeah.
we own here our own version, the Bristol bus
Yeah.
boycott. But I think what it is with American Black history, it just seems a bit more exciting, more
Yeah.
more dramatic.
Probably
But no,
also a little more distant too, because it's like, oh, so is those people over there that have, is that even like in America, like we have, it happened in the South. No, it happened in the North. That it happened everywhere in America too. Yeah.
so oh gosh, it really, really irritated me. It was almost like Black people had only come into the UK in the 1940s with
Hmm.
Windrush here since medieval days as
Yeah.
part of royal courts, aristocracy. We'd rather talk about American slavery of the southern states than talk about the Black African kings and
Hmm.
queens in England. And
Yeah.
I couldn't.
No, absolutely, absolutely. I definitely am. Yeah, again, that's what my frustration here as well. So it's like we only get part of the story. So just recently I found out about this story called The Creole, which was the largest, or sorry, the most successful Black slave revolt in American history, where basically, they had these slaves who took over a ship and basically sailed the ship to the Bahamas where they had ended slavery already, and they basically freed themselves essentially. I didn't know about this at all from history, even from college. I had to come and find this out myself, like in my own research. So, there's definitely a lot of those like those blank spaces that I'm trying to fill a little bit as well. But definitely seems like you're doing that over in England too.
We're doing our best. We're doing our best. For all that we find, we're still finding more.
Yeah.
What's quite incredible, for what we found, there's 10 more of what we found,
Hmm.
but it's based on what records were kept. And this is the annoying thing about researching. Researching for me is my passion. That's all I ever do. But you can only research what information's there. We are very limited in this country. I think you've got more ammunition, as it were, more heritage, what I call conservation in America
Yeah.
than we. Yeah.
Okay.
So you are going down into the depth of the libraries, and a lot of it has been scribbled out, or you can see where pages have been ripped out and so on.
Okay.
So I love it. I love the detective work. If I can find the plots of where to go to do the detective work, but we're
Yeah.
getting
Okay.
there.
Okay. It's interesting. I was thinking about like it would definitely. we have a lot, but it seems like but yours goes back further. So, even like getting the course together, like, like you mentioned medieval times, Roman times. So that's not something that we have over here. So it's definitely a lot of history that you guys, can kind of uncover there. And I just going over there, I always find interesting stuff that I learn each time I've come over there. So,
Well, you see, I mean, for example, I'm just finding out now that one of the first kings of Scotland was African. But to
okay.
see of him, he's got peachy pink skin.
Hmm.
He has been a portrait was done of him of what he really looked like, and the one that is sold to us on Google search, and it's two totally different pictures. But we
Yeah.
did have an African Scottish king. So you've also got the whole thing of the purposeful erasing of what that person's complexion look like, their
Yeah.
features. Those is a lot slimmer. So we are realizing, and I'm working with a lot of other historical doctors, that a lot of the portraits that we've got in some of our museums, that is not the way that person really looked at all. So
Yeah.
we've covering that. I'm actually working with some of the churches here about the whole fact that when you go into a church here, the stained glass windows, you'll always see Jesus Christ with blonde hair and blue eyes. And there's nothing wrong with blonde hair and blue eyes, but the people who would have lived in that area of the world at that time naturally would not have looked like
Absolutely.
that, not
Yeah.
have had blonde hair and blue eyes. So how can I put it? There's been a lot of photoshopping of our
Yeah.
history, visual and written and narrative, and that's what makes it more harder. But we
No,
we try.
absolutely. I did a video about Jesus Christ, how he actually looked, and yeah, there's no way you can't be in that region of the world, the Middle East with like that complexion. This just doesn't work. I mean, not not being native from that particular region.
And then there's this whole thing of what I call pushback.
Hmm.
So I will find something and I will present it as a walk or an exhibition. And you will always have those that want to, well, I've been called a troublemaker.
Hmm.
Why do you want to stir up racial hatred? This is what we don't need this, Marcia. And I'm looking and saying, but all I'm doing is presenting the whole truth. What's
Yeah.
wrong with? But because it's such a barbaric whole truth,
Yeah.
how can I put it? Hurt people hurt other people. So
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I agree.
to have someone of this generation hurt and embarrassed because of what their previous generation did, and
Hmm.
they get emotional. And what I'm
Yeah.
saying, I'm not emotional when I'm presenting this history to
Nope.
you, and I don't want you to be upset. All I am is saying, this is what's happened. I've got a
Hmm.
nice, here you are, and then I'll walk off and go home. But
Absolutely.
that is this emotion that you think, wow, what's all this? Here's a tissue.
Yeah.
I'm not finger at you. So this whole thing of Black history, I always say it's a bit of a mystery, to be honest, because for you and I, it's something that we've read, we get it, we don't question it, we
Hmm.
do speak the way it's been presented, but we're not angry. What I find quite intriguing, I'm telling you this information in a flat voice, no emotion, you're crying. I don't
Yeah.
get it. What can I do?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, what are the different types of walks that you do? Because I know we did the Birmingham walk. So, what are some of the different types of walks you do with Black Heritage Walks?
So in terms of walks, we are now expanding. So it's always been walks that have been based around a postcode, so it's
Hmm.
nice and but we theme it with the individual, the Black history, personal heritage that it's about. So for example, our walk in Handsworth, which I'd like to take you, and I don't think I have, is
Yeah.
based on Nelson Mandela. Okay,
Okay.
and we Madiba War. And what we tend to do is to find that big key figure, international figure,
Okay.
and name the walk after that person, because everyone knows who Nelson Mandela is, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, I'll go further. He features on that walk. So let's tell the whole world this by naming it after him. So that's that walk. We've also got, and that walk is what I would call a history and heritage walk of us coming here to Birmingham and creating our own communities those people that came here from the Caribbean.
Yeah.
But there are other walks where the narrative is slightly different. So we've got the 6888 walk. That's based in another part of Birmingham called Selly Oak. And we're talking to you about the military with that one.
Okay.
Okay. 6888 are the first ever, from my knowledge, and only African American female soldiers that came here in World War II.
Okay.
So, and we've named that one specifically 6888 because
Yeah.
everyone says, "What's 6888?" And we love the fact that we've hooked you with this mysterious title. We've also got, for example, the jewelry quarter walk, where we're
Yeah.
talking economics. We're talking to you along that. You're going to hear about all the gold, silver, everything that came here, but the economic contribution that all that gold coming here made to the city of Birmingham. So it can be a case of, it could be about culture, economics, politics, or heritage. That's what
Okay.
we. But we've now expanded, and we've now been given a 17-seater minibus, so
Awesome.
that who have got issues with walking, mobility,
Hmm.
we can have a bus and we can take them on that route. So we're expanding now.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned the 6888. There's going to be a movie about that. I think Tyler Perry is gonna like has funded a movie about it. Which again, another thing I didn't know about that until this year. So so many gaps in the history.
And we're still finding those gaps. What
Yeah.
we're at that anything that we find, we're not, because we've researched so much, we are now able to connect it up with something else that we found previously.
Hmm.
So we've got some exciting times. So, for example, the other thing that I'm now doing is not just walks, Black Heritage Days.
Okay.
One I've looked at within the calendar of Black British history, especially in Birmingham, is every month someone, an icon, happened, came, was born. So
Yeah.
last February the 12th, I got the minibus and we went out and we celebrated Malcolm X. Because Malcolm X came to Birmingham on the 12th of February, and that
Okay.
made impact. Next week or next month, sorry, it's going to be Ida B. Wells. A month after that, it's going to be Bob Marley. And what
Mhm.
we're doing is we're not saying to people, come on a walk with us. I've got a conference room and we're doing a big workshop, a big discussion, lots of YouTube videos, lots of pictures. And what I'm creating on that day is an exhibition. So
Okay.
we've got the books and we've now got Black Heritage Days, because in
Awesome.
my head, this whole thing of Black History Month, that's okay. It should be Black History 365. And we're doing everything so that every week you're hearing us, you're seeing us, we're telling you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So when you do these walks, do you tailor them at all to the groups that come in? For example, we're the Americans, so we come in, and then you have maybe have local people from Birmingham, maybe people from other parts of England, maybe people from Africa, people from Europe. So how do you kind of tailor, or do you tailor? How do you tailor these walks?
I tailor them basically. Yeah, so I look at the group that I'm having, and for
Hmm.
like your students from America, I tried to show the Birmingham Black History link
Okay,
that we do in America. So you
gotcha.
were about all of our economics here, all of our aristocracy owning the plantation fields in America, and the fact that all of that money came here, but a lot of the brutality happened there. Hence, you
Yeah,
got things like that. So what I do tend to do is try and link. This is Birmingham. If it were a group of African visitors, I'm going to try and show you the links to Africa and America, but really stress on Africa.
okay,
Yeah, so I go out my way to show that link. We're linked to you
okay.
because of.
Awesome, awesome. So, do you have any interesting stories from your walk? So there's one as you did kind of tell about a couple, a married couple. So I'm kind of curious. Yeah, do you want to share maybe that one or maybe some interesting kind of stories from the walks?
Well, yes. So this one, it was a lovely couple, and it was a black guy and his partner, white woman. Lovely.
Hmm.
Nope. And we're going on the Ida B. Wells walk, which is all about human rights. And I
Hmm.
express to them. We're not at that point where we're even able to fight for our civil rights yet. We're still trying to get our human rights.
Hmm.
Okay. So we got to this one part of the walk where there's this beautiful grand tree. It's absolutely massive. And I said, this is what Ida B. Wells would have seen. And this is where men would have been hanging
Yeah.
from, they were lynched.
Yeah.
I've got some visuals because in this country, we didn't know, we never had that history of lynching. It didn't
Yeah.
happen. So when you say lynching to anyone here, they're like, what? So you have to show them, and the visuals are always going to be quite horrific because you're
Yes.
going to see this man burning, hanging from the tree.
Yeah.
So I've seen this visual 100 times. It's like, but this
Yeah.
woman saw this visual. Is that what really happened? And I said, yes, what would normally happen is that one of the enslaved African men would be accused of, having a pass at one of the white women,
Yeah.
falsely accused, and there'd be essentially a big event where hundreds of people would be invited and they'd watch him burn slowly on the tree from this rope. Now, I didn't realize that the fact that I was telling her all this detail was having this massive effect on her. I
Yeah.
was just. So the next thing, when I see these floods of tears, and I'm not joking, she literally fell to her
Yeah.
knees, looked up at her boyfriend. Please forgive me. I'll never do that to you. Please forgive my previous generation. I was like, come, lady, come off the floor. And
Yeah.
he's like, really embarrassed. And we had to help her up. And I'm not joking. I had to go, well, we had to walk past a shop, sit her down, buy her a cool drink,
Yeah.
and tissues. She was in a real state. We really struggled to finish off the walk. It had such an emotional impact on her. It was frightening.
Yeah.
And there's me saying, yes, and the skin used to just burn off, and the people used to throw stones at the dead. And I didn't realize it was causing more trauma to her. I'm just describing it.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's the way she begged her partner for forgiveness. And I
Yeah.
said, he didn't do it. You didn't do it. It's okay. Oh,
Yeah.
that one.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it's the thing is that history is for a lot of people unknown, is hidden, and so it's shocking. I mean, I do the same thing when I teach my students. I have the visuals, I show the images, I talk about what happens with those lynchings and everything, and so yeah, yeah, she was not ready that day.
And she found it, and I understand, shocking. You see, the thing is with you and I, we're not shocked by the brutality
No,
of. Um, I think what I'm seeing these days is that we're not shocked, but when I take people who are Caucasian, they are shocked of how bad their previous generation was.
yeah,
Always here. But you know, Marcia, we love black people. We don't have an issue with black people. We think you're cool. You're fan. The one that irritates me. We think you're fantastic dancers and you're brilliant at sport.
oh
I'm like,
gosh,
it was okay till that bit. Yeah, so that's that you get all that emotion.
yeah,
Um, for me, what I find very interesting is when I enter a room, there's almost a look of, really? Because I don't fit the image of a historian.
hmm,
In this country, if you're talking about a historian, it tends to be a white male who grew up in a very affluent area, talks really went
yeah,
to one of the top universities. And so
hmm,
who Marcia, a black woman, yeah, getting on, middle-aged, who
hmm,
have that upbringing. I had just an ordinary working class
yeah,
upbringing because of my parents filling my world with Black history books from a young age that I'm like this. So the other day, I went to a conference and I was asked to speak, and the claps and all the rest of it. So here's Marcia Dunkley, a Black historian. So I just stood there and when the clapping finished, I said, I'm Marcia, a historian. And I made the point because I heard the gasps as the because I made the point of dropping the word black. What I'm trying to say is you don't need to differentiate me by telling me I'm a black historian. I'm just a historian. So you and the host went bright red, and I get it, but
Hmm.
you know, she didn't mean to at all upset me or say anything inappropriate. But she was just so how can I put it, excited that someone of color
Yeah.
was up there. She introduced me as a black historian.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's like we have a black professor here. No, I'm a professor. That's all right. So I got a little signal for like we have like 10 minutes, unfortunately. So we have to do this again at some point. So
Okay,
absolutely.
fine.
So I think I'll try to do two more questions. Uh, well, you kind of answered one of them about what you're doing, like with the Black Heritage Day. So that was one of my big questions. What are you doing outside of the walk? So that was a big one. Um, Actually, I'll do my next one. I think is an important one, and then there's one kind of more hypothetical one. So, how can people go on your tour? So, if I want to sign up, whether I'm in the U.S. or whether I'm in Britain, how do I sign up for a walk, Black Heritage Walk?
Yeah, so we've got our website, Black Heritage Walks Network. And when you type in Black Heritage Network, we're the
Hmm.
first one Google search. And we do have on there, if you are international, please just send us an email and we'll get in touch with you and speak to you verbally. Because
Okay.
what that we always do with groups from outside of the UK is have a Zoom call with you so that you can see us, you can see that we're
Hmm.
real, not AI, and we can have
Hmm.
what I call that detailed conversation because anyone coming here from outside of the UK, the fact that you've traveled in, we want to make your stay here as detailed and as action-packed as possible. So anyone, we won't let you go. We say, right, what can we do for you? Where can we take you out for dinner?
Yeah.
So it's a going onto the website, email us is the best way, and one of us will ring you and we'll say, can we set up a Zoom? Can we see what you look like? And we'll make a if it's a group of you, or actually even just a small group, we'll tailor make the walk for you depending on what time you're coming to
Okay.
England, where you'll be staying. We'll arrange pickup for you. Yeah, it won't just be a walk. We'll do other stuff.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I would definitely highly recommend doing these walks. I've done two. I've enjoyed both of them, learned a lot on both of the walks. So definitely, whether you're in the UK, whether you're from outside, definitely do these walks. My last question is more of a hypothetical question. So if you had thousands of pounds at your disposal, what would you do to spread knowledge about Black British history? Kind of the,
Well,
yeah.
that is a fantastic question because we're actually doing that now. So
Okay.
we knocked on the door of it's I'm going to try and pronounce his name. He is the architect of Black History Month in
Okay.
this country. And we had a meeting with him and we said, you know, we love the whole thing of Black History Month, but our history isn't just for 1 month. And we had a lovely conversation. And essentially, he said, okay, I'm going to hand over the reins to you. And so, with the government, we're actually working with the government, with the Birmingham City Councils and
Mhm.
others, try and push and make Black History Month a year long. So, international, national, not just Birmingham.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing now. We're going to, and we want to encourage our brothers and sisters over there in America. Come on, let's go on this 365 thing. So
Hmm.
what is starting from April, we're going to be telling you about all of the celebrations, edutainments that won't just happen in October. We're going to start bringing them forward into the summer months. So
Yeah.
that's what we do. Mhm.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, well, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to put it up on Facebook, put it on my YouTube channel, just to kind of get more people knowledge about the Black Heritage Walks and what you guys have been doing. Again, I didn't know about y'all until like I did the course, came over there and had a really great experience both times, and kind of interacting with you and kind of learning more about Black British history. Of course, you have an open invitation to come to US anytime you want. I'll make some space for you.
That'd be absolutely fantastic. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome. Have a good rest of your day, Marcia. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Now, if you found that video interesting and or informative, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Also, please share this video. And if you have any questions about Black Heritage Walks, please leave those in the comment section below. Thank you all for your time and have a wonderful rest of your day.